What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the IFTV podcast. On today's episode, we ask the important questions. Is De Laurentiis, the owner of Napoli, ruining the club? They have now hired their third coach of the season after, of course, winning the iconic Scudetto last year. Is Allegri under or overachieving with this current Juventus side? And is football getting too soft? Yes, we dive into that after Huijsen, the 18-year-old defender of Roma, was given a yellow card after shushing the Frosinone fans who were booing him all game long. Of course, this did spark a debate amongst all of us. As always, guys, if you enjoy this episode, and only if you enjoy it, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. It goes a long way. And if you're listening on any audio platform, rate us 5 stars. Leave us a review. We would truly appreciate it. Anyway, enough from me. Enjoy the show.
Anto, why are you so mad?
I'm not mad. I'm mad of your stupid friend.
Who's my friend?
Yeah, this guy here
not my
next
friend.
to me. That's
For the
not
people
your
that
friend.
listen in audio.
Why? Because he didn't open up the door for you?
No,
Why
I
are you mad
texted
at
him.
him?
I said, are we meeting at the studio for the game? No answer. I called him, no answer.
Wow.
Then he calls me after AC Milan loses
Wow.
just to wrap it in. I said, oh, the fans want you know what you think. And then I told him, go f*** yourself. Hello, cut this, please. That's it.
Mike, what do you have to say for yourself? Is it true?
I don't remember a thing.
Wow.
I don't know what
It
you're
was,
talking
a,
about, buddy.
it was a good night.
I didn't
guess.
receive a phone call from you.
You want me to prove it to you?
I just said I didn't receive
He
it.
didn't catch it.
I'll prove it to you. Yeah.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
You-
We'll believe it. I'll put it on
Mike,
the
you're not
screen.
supposed to put the
It's
phone
all
with
right.
the, with the
Yeah,
mic.
we know.
Well,
Really
it was a
put
good weekend for
Not for Anto.
some of us.
I'm gonna put the-
Less so for others. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How
Looking
you
good,
been feeling?
Gaetano. Fresh
I'm
car.
good. I just finished playing pickleball. I got my exercise.
Fresh
so,
car.
Yeah, I'm going to start getting in shape again.
Excellent.
You know,
Oh, you out of
for my
shape?
next tournament.
You out of shape?
We watched, we reposted the video that we did with you in Baggio. Do you remember we recorded a video talking about Baggio?
Yeah.
It did really well on Twitter when we reposted it the other day. You look good too. You were in shape.
Yeah. And one thing I must say, this man amazes me every time. I send him best wishes yesterday. Thank you that you reminded me. And he answered me after 30 seconds.
Did you say hello? Because I told him to say hello
He
from me.
answered after 30 seconds.
That's wild.
I mean, this guy must got 1 million messages yesterday, right? I mean, he knows people all over the world. He was with and in 30 seconds he answered me.
Because you're one of the top 5.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And I still
That's
didn't
crazy.
answer Anto.
Baggio has time, but Mike doesn't have time.
Yeah,
There we
Mike
go.
doesn't
See
have
that?
time. But also, he made an Instagram yesterday. Did you see?
Yeah,
Peter.
saw
I think
with
Peter
with
sent
the
it
car.
in the
Yeah,
group
I
chat.
saw it with the car coming in. Yeah.
You can maybe
Finally.
do something with IFTV Antonio
We've needed
and,
him to
and Robbie.
to make an Instagram for quite some time, and we'll link also the video if you guys want to rewatch it. Can you put it on the ground? Thank you. We'll relink it on Twitter if you guys want to watch the story of Roberto Baggio, and you shared some nice wisdom. Pete,
Yes.
you're the big winner of the weekend, as it always seems to be. Plus 9 points at the top of the table with a game in hand. The Scudetto now. Surely, you've been avoiding it for quite some time. Surely now you're ready to say it's over.
I'll wait another week or so.
I'll say
He's gonna
for
wait
you,
till
okay?
another week.
Because a couple of weeks ago I said that it's not over.
Okay, now it is.
I'm going to tell you now, it's over.
Officially, unofficially. I want to wait till once the Atalanta game
Me.
happens,
Okay,
then I say,
okay,
then I say it's
okay.
over.
All right, so let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
What?
You take
How
the
much?
opposite since it's not
No,
done
no,
yet.
I'm not gonna.
There we go.
Listen, we're at a good point. But we still have to play Champions League.
Okay.
Juventus doesn't.
Okay.
So there could be a couple of slip ups, and I'm not saying that Juventus will have to be perfect, and Milan too have to be perfect.
We know
But-
they're not.
No, I get it, but I think that the concentration level starts to be high, and you still have to get through this. I think the Atalanta game will be the deciding factor for Inter. I would say at a 99%.
This is coming from a hardcore Inter fan, if you couldn't guess it prior to that. We'll talk about your Champions League. We'll talk about everything. We got to talk about the team first. The first topic is the team that wasn't first last year, but they are on a complete and utter downfall. And it seems like Napoli have now officially fired Walter Mazzarri just minutes ago here when we're recording this podcast.
It's about time. Can we fire ADL too?
So that is my question. Do you guys think De Laurentiis is ruining Napoli? Because as I mentioned, they're on their third coaching change. It has never happened in the history of Serie A that the team that wins a Scudetto fires 2 coaches in the following season. They also have the absolute worst run ever for a reigning champion, being 27 points behind first place. The coach that they're bringing in is Francesco Calzona, and I have to read his name because he's not a very well-known coach. He is the coach of Slovakia. He's going to stay on as the coach of Slovakia. They made a deal because he's coaching them at the Euros. He was the assistant to Spalletti and to Sarri at Napoli as well. And it seems like, again, Napoli have their third coaching change. So what do you guys think?
I know nothing about Calzone except what you just said.
Calzona.
Calzona.
Calzone is...
Some pizza, you know, pizza.
That word's used a lot in our group chat. Another word.
So the best thing that Eddie Howe could have done is sell the team at the end of the championship, get his $1 billion, and let somebody else run the team. They would have won a couple of more championships, and maybe they had a chance to win the Champions League. But with Eddie Howe, it's a lost cause, I must say. He's the one that built this beautiful toy, but he's destroying this toy this year. That's the way I feel about Eddie Howe. I think a lot of it's on him.
It's interesting to say because of the seasons prior to Napoli win the Scudetto last season, I feel like we're all saying the same thing as we're saying post Scudetto hangover victory, whatever the case is. But when they won the Scudetto, I remember all of us on the table said, wow, we were wrong. ADL really knew what he was talking about. The only team in Italy that didn't have debt. He really did it with very little, and he proved everyone wrong. And now the season after, we look at it like that didn't happen. So I'm not saying I agree or disagree on anything, but does that have to do with anything with what was being said from last season?
Well, I think obviously what happened last year, I think we realized it's a mix of so many things, just perfect timing, everything working perfectly, Spalletti's influence on the team, the squad being extremely motivated, and everything just working out as a perfect storm. And it all came crashing down, losing even your sporting director and all these problems. Antonio, you've been very quiet. The body fans have been singing as well. You sent the video, a TikTok video actually, this is what you sent, of the body fans singing
I forward
De
that.
Laurentiis
I don't
Vattene,
Yeah.
which means De Laurentiis get out because the body fans don't want him. What do you make? Do you think he's hurting this Napoli side now?
You know, in all honesty to you, De Laurentiis is not on the field. Okay, the only one that they lost in terms of player, active player from the squad, from the roster of last year, it was Kim Min-jae.
So is Kim worth 27 points?
No, but for anybody to point the finger just at De Laurentiis, I don't think it's the right thing to do. It's not, it's the whole team is not performing. Hey, the ball is over there. Don't tell me that all of a sudden you forget because the previous coach is not there anymore. What kind of a squad is this? Don't they have any professional, blood on their system? Those are people paid a lot of money to be stepping on a field, especially Napoli, at the Maradona. If you have, you have to have a lot of, balls to stepping on a field like that and just take the responsibility. I don't think De Laurentiis. For me, if you want to put on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give 3. De Laurentiis and 7 is the team.
Okay.
I think to go off your point, Anto, I think it's not so much just the changing of a defender, Kim, but it's knowing that, what happened last year was not thanks to God or thanks to this miraculous thing. There was people in place that made an effort and put things together that then obviously it worked out perfectly. But ultimately it came down to putting pride aside. And I think that's the biggest thing with ADL this year is more so the fact that he thought this is the team that I created. I did it and I can rebuild it or build on top of it as I please. Not realizing that there's important components in building a roster and having the team happy. And we don't know exactly what happened with Spalletti, but as the rumors, have been discussed, for the beginning of that season and before, it was a matter of maybe millions or something that Spalletti said, hey, I deserve a little bit more given the fact that I just brought the Scudetto to Napoli. And I think probably the difference of what you would have paid, you're now paying 3 coaches this year and you would have had a lot more time to
think Spalletti wanted an excuse to be out.
Yeah, I think
He
so too.
wanted an
I think
excuse.
Spalletti saw this
He
coming.
knew that
in
he
a
could
sense.
not repeat.
He
smelled-
saw,
he
yeah, he
smelled
saw
the
Yeah,
something.
he knew that he couldn't repeat. He wanted an excuse to be out, and I think it's very unprofessional from his side because his contract did not call for
He's
ADL.
unprofessional?
Yeah, because his contract was
But
not.
they're not paying him anymore.
Wait a
He's
moment.
getting paid
They
by
rescind-
Italy.
they
It doesn't
rescinded.
matter. But his decision to leave.
He told them way before.
Yeah, but his decision to leave, he totally disregard all the what he did before with Napoli and all the player and all the chemistry that he built up with the players. The way we've been just crowd because of Spalletti. No, those guys, they totally forgot how to play soccer. And don't tell me that just
It
only
can't-
Spalletti
But it
was
does make a
able to make
difference.
them work
It's
like
not
that.
so much about how they work. It's about the locker room. I think the biggest problem with Napoli this year is the locker room.
So let me ask you guys: do you think Mazzarri was fired now? And there's a lot that you could say about Mazzarri. I mean, the stats are pretty bad. In his first 12 games, he got 15 points compared to Rudy Garcia in his first 12 games with Napoli. He got 21 points. So obviously, it was a drop off. The football was completely different. It was reverting back to a 3-man back line. It was about overloading defense, trying to hit on the counter. Complete opposite football to what Napoli were last year. Maybe the most jarring stat of all was that since Mazzarri joined the league, they scored 9 goals in that time. From November 25th to last match, they scored 9 goals. Not one other team, not even Salernitana, scored less goals than Napoli, which is insane. Do you I have a soft spot for Spalletti, not to say that he's the savior of the team, because nobody here thought that. But he was put up in a very difficult situation with a difficult schedule in front of him, with Osimhen, who's been out at AFCON for the past month. Do you guys think this coaching change, which of course we don't know a lot about Calzona, do you think that this helps Napoli in any way for the remaining season?
I think it does. It does. I'll tell you why. First of all, if it's true that this guy, First of all, if it's true that this guy was the assistant of Spalletti, so he must have learned something from Spalletti. He's the coach over the Czech, right? The Czech Republic. Slovakia. And then he was an assistant of somebody else. Who else? It was Sarri. Here you go. We're talking about 2 top coaches. Okay,
now he's top coaches.
the maestro. You guys are consider the top
sorry,
coaches.
sorry.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, this Mazzarri was like, I said, I got nobody else left. I said, hey, Walter, can you come
Basically.
and
Do me a favor.
can you do me a favor?
Basically.
I mean,
Yes.
it's like De Laurentiis said, listen, I don't really like you, but I got nobody else. Can you just save the
He needed
face?
someone who knew Naples, who understood the fan base.
Right, so they call Mazzarri. Mazzarri, unfortunately, couldn't do anything because Napoli is on a free fall as we speak right now. So it's just I think this guy is going to do something good because I think he's got soccer knowledge.
Mike, Gaetano, you guys both disagree?
I don't really have. Yeah, I disagree with Anto in terms of I don't think sacking him's really gonna do much. I mean, what are you trying to salvage out of them? You're bringing in the third coach of the season while fresh off the Spalletti era and all that stuff, and you're mixing all these emotions and these locker room. Did Osimhen even get a decent chance to even see Mazzarri first of all?
Also, 48 hours later, they have to play Barcelona in the Champions League on Tuesday.
I mean,
by the way.
there's a million things going on right now.
Listen,
They're adding more to the fire.
He had to make a change, okay? He had to make a change because with Mazzarri, you cannot keep going the way he was going. But I would like to ask everyone here a question, okay? Let's take AC Milan. Let's take Inter. Let's take Juventus. Do you think that any of those teams, if they had the season that Napoli had, playing the beautiful game, the next Campionato, the coach would get out? They would have done. The president would have done anything to keep the whole toy together for the next season, not to you dismantle. And like he said, it's ADR, it's his pride. He wants to tell everybody, I'm in charge. I do whatever I want.
And it definitely helped Napoli get to where they are today because from Serie C, everything he did from Serie C do it to now, he did unbelievable. They're one of the most healthy teams financially. But I think the argument was if they would have, for example, sold in the summer when their valuation was as high as it could be, and then maybe he could have replicated what he did with Napoli with Bari, for example. Let's go to the next thing. Another team that you can never really pinpoint what's happening with them. It was one of the craziest matches I've ever seen with Monza and Milan. And I know Pioli is a big topic for you because I was reading the group chat. Do you think Pioli is a problem at this Milan side and why they lost this game? Too much rotation? I was reading some. Why were you upset this weekend?
All right. First of all, I don't think it's the only problem. It's a major part of the problem of AC Milan. What my problem with Pioli is it's not the first time. The guy never learns from his mistake.
What's not the first time?
The first time that he just plays a formation against second teams, like so, or not great teams. He disrespect them by just not playing the starter. Okay, Monza, it's not a team like a middle of the table team that you have the disrespect.
They are
middle table.
That's exactly what they are.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Mike,
You go finish.
But they've never been a top team this season.
to me, if it's the truth that Pioli is making 100%, is the decision making in charge of all the formation, who's
Well,
gonna?
he's the coach.
Yes, he does.
Of course he is.
If it's the truth, I think he should fire himself.
Come on.
Fire himself.
Come on, they're in third place.
Pioli's on
Let me
fire.
finish. You asked me that question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the only one.
Let me ask. Can I ask a follow up to that?
Yeah.
If Milan won this game, let's say 2-0, and rested Lau, Giroud,
But they
Pulisic.
didn't.
No. But I'm just saying the alternative, because it's easy. It's easy today for us to say he made a mistake, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. What I'm asking, if Milan won this game 3-0, and then you rested those 3 players ahead of your Europa League match, would you be really happy?
I think the question doesn't make any sense.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, to me that question it's better that you don't ask.
I'm sorry.
This is what's going on. I think there's somebody else behind Pioli that is making those kind of decisions, or is helping him making this kind of decision. First of all, when you bring in your starter on the second half, when you are down to 10 people, I mean, let's not talk about Jovic. When you are down to 10 people, you task them with twice as much work as they were to put it on the field if they were even to start the game. Now, those people that they came in, Leao, Giroud, and Pulisic, it's like they played 2 times or 2 games in one day. And now you're expecting them to perform at a high level Thursday against the Lille.
But is it Pioli's fault that
It
Chow
is.
didn't know how to defend?
It is. No.
That Chow made a mistake that we've never seen before.
Chow is the least that I give a.
Come
I'm
on.
telling you why. When you eliminate your best starter on the midfield, okay, Reinders is supposed to be there all the time. He has never missed a game, only because he was disqualified. He was out. But every time that this guy plays, he balances all the midfield, and especially on the defensive side. So when you take him out, you take Giroud out, you take Leao out, and you take Pulisic out, you take some of the best player on the team. Why don't you just... Not that I wanted to just praise Inzaghi because I can't stand him. But this guy here, he wins the game on and then he takes them out. You have to go and don't try to catch up. You have to just go ahead, just give it a 200-meter, distacco, we say in Italy, and then you rest them.
Anto,
Okay?
you know what? I just want to say real quick. You know what I don't get, Anto? That Milan already up 4-0. 3-0 in the Europa League, and he still wants to do rotation as if it's not, they don't have one foot through the door.
I think we are risky to get out too. To be honest with you,
Let's get everybody else's task, because he does bring up an interesting point. And you look at Inter against Salernitana, he played everybody, Lautaro and Thuram, and you have a very important game against Atletico. His idea of the turnover, of the rotations, was let's win the game, let's get the game managed, and then change. Pioli did the opposite.
Listen, in the past, but Inzaghi has done a turnover, so it's not like that game in particular. I think before his game, before the Salernitana game, a lot of people were criticizing Inzaghi. So you can't have it both ways. They were criticizing, how are you inert starting your starters when you have Atletico? Salernitana should be a pushover, yada, yada, yada. Ultimately, I think it also depends on, the coach and the training. So you don't know what goes on. They're human beings. They're not machines.
I'll tell you what goes on, Pete. I'll tell you what goes on. Let me just say
These are the trainings.
I'll tell you. You won 3-0 against Lille, right?
Rennes.
Rennes. What is the chance for you to go over there and lose? Very little to nothing.
That's not the point.
This is the reasons why you have the win with what you
But
have.
you're looking at that. But you're not looking at the energy levels.
You do not change what works. You don't change what works. Okay,
What do you
now,
think?
now,
What do you
Anto has a
make of
point
that?
though. He has a whole front line taken out.
we
though.
putting
He has a
ourselves
point.
in the position to be tasking those guys
I
and
agree
make
with
them
Anto.
doing
Isn't there a balance? though?
overtime. No, it's not balance.
I'm not saying that you have to play everybody, but maybe changing 4 key players was not the smartest
Yeah,
thing.
at least
I
like a
think I
couple,
thought it
maybe
was
two.
too much.
Yeah, it
that's
was
the only thing.
It was definitely an
And
overkill.
it
for sure.
But also at the same time, is it really Pioli's fault that they went up against a Monza side that scored 2 goals in their last 5 games, and then they scored 4 goals on your defense? So there's other problems than just Pioli. What do you make of this?
Maybe you don't have good players to replace. Giroud cannot play every game. You make it really like Giroud. He cannot play every 3-4 days.
Who told you that?
Who
Come on,
told-
who
look at
told
his
you
age,
that?
Anto.
Every time that he's in, he's the only one attacking
He's
and pressing the
35.
goalkeeper.
38.
He's the only one
38.
hustling down.
Eh,
He's
and what
the only
happened?
one that hustled during the
and
game.
He came in and he scored a goal.
Yes,
Okay.
That's
So
the proof to
that's
you
not-
that
that's
he
not-
has to play every game.
That's not Pioli's fault.
Is.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing. That they were playing with 10 players, okay, and they were losing 2-0, and they tied the game 2-2.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
And then what did Pioli do?
That's not an easy task.
Yeah,
to
what did Pioli do?
Okay, that's
He kept pushing them up instead of saying, okay,
you should blame Jovic. You should blame for getting
well,
the
that's
red
number
card.
one. I would
okay?
fine him. I
Because-
would fine him a lot of money.
because with
I hope
11
you're looking
against
at me.
11, he would have won the game. Okay, because what happened to Monza is they were winning 2-0. They were playing for 40 minutes. You know what they did? They passed the ball back to the goalkeeper.
They got
For
scared.
40 minutes.
They got scared.
They passed the ball back to the goalkeeper, and it was 2-2 game. And then they realized, oh my God, we have 10 minutes left. Let's push. As soon as they pushed, they were playing good. You're playing against 10 players. That's not Pioli's fault.
Let me remind
That's
you
Jovic's
something. AC
fault.
Milan tied the game almost al 90º, 2 minutes before the end of the game, before the end of regulation time, okay?
Yeah.
So, is Pioli, the smart guy, instead of realizing the game is over, let's not really, go too much over. At least we saved our face and we saved the game. Let's just step back a little bit more and maybe on a counter. Pioli, he pushes everybody out and you get yourself with a defense.
I don't think that was the case.
With that defense, with the defense that we have, you guys see him and Grella, they keep going over stats. AC Milan defense this year is a disgrace. Okay? I'm not sure whether Magnan is on the top of his game either. I think I blame him too because he's the leader. He should be the leader of the defense. Maybe it's not keeping everybody, on
check. A lot of individual mistakes overall. And it's right that we focused on Milan, but let's also say Monza, I was very impressed with the way that they played. They went out of this game where they're in mid-table, right? They have not been able to beat the big teams like they did last year, but Palladino has a real system. He oftentimes lacks a striker, and that's been one of the criticisms of the team. He said today was the day to be the cherry on top of the cake. They were playing with house money, so they could do whatever they wanted. But I love how organized his team is. And I wanted to bring up to you guys where we see Palladino going because at the end of the season, because I really imagine him taking the next step up. Let's say, for example, Fiorentina, Italiano moves on, or maybe Bologna doesn't. If they don't make Champions League and Thiago Motta leaves.
About Milan, Palladino, Milan, and Pioli is learning from him, next to him.
I see Palladino taking the next step, not a Champions League team, right below Champions League.
A European team.
Where do you guys see? Do you think he's ready for that, or do you think he should stay at Monza, or do you think he should even take a bigger step at like a Napoli, for example?
I think it might take a sideway job like how Juric did with Verona, then went to Torino, just because I feel like it is a difficult level and that job security isn't real. When you go up that big of a thing without being completely proven, they can cause a lot of headaches. It can be too big for some coaches. But I love to see him tackle a bigger team. If a team like who knows Milan or who knows Napoli in the
Milan's
summer
too
going to
big.
need so like that's
Milan's too
but that's
big.
what I'm just saying. It could be too much for some coaches that
He's 30. He's the youngest coach in the league, 39 years old.
He's got plenty of time. He's got decades ahead of him for all that experience.
I just
so.
think or I should say there's other candidates who are probably more suited if Pioli does leave Milan than Palladino.
I think Palladino should stay where he is, really, unless there's this exodus of coaches. I can see him maybe in a Lazio, but then at the same time, the responsibilities amplify.
Heighten, yeah.
And now you're stuck where you have to be result driven.
Exactly.
With the Monza team, the team plays excellent. What I like about is the balance of their approach to the games, and also the ability to, no matter who's kind of playing, they're able to make something work. This year he struggled scoring, so I think even for next year, for him to stay at Monza, as long as the project is solid,
And they invest a
it
little bit,
would
right?
be
They've
interesting. I
lost
know.
players though. They're
yeah.
above points last year.
Yeah.
And they've lost players. They lost Carlos
Carlos
Augusto.
Augusto.
They lost Rovella. They lost Sensi.
Yeah.
They never brought in
They
a
lost the
top
quality.
striker.
They got
Yeah, but
more
no, they got
muscle.
Juric, they got
They
Colombo.
just signed
I know
them.
they just signed it,
They
but
just
okay,
signed them
what
out
AC
of-
Milan signed? We just signed Terracciano because we are we need defenders.
What do you
So,
mean?
back to Milan.
About Palladino.
About Palladino? Is anything impressive, or you just think that he's
Palladino.
too early to tell?
He was. I have seen him play, and it was impressive. I was disappointed yesterday because he was winning 2-0 for 40 minutes. He passed the ball back to the goalkeeper. I cannot tell you how many times in those 40 minutes, and they tied the game 2-2.
I thought it
He
was
tied
over.
the game 2-2.
But then he went on to win
I
it.
thought it was
Okay,
over.
but
Against Milan.
in the last few minutes, because everybody pressed and they were desperate to press, and but why did he was like scared? He was winning 2-0 to me, and he was scared.
He was.
It's Monza against Milan.
Okay, but that's how you're winning.
With an extra man,
He
though,
won
too.
4-2. Even when they got to
You're-
3-2, he
you're
went
a-
on and pushed forward.
You have been successful because you put pressure. You're not scared. That's why sometimes some of those teams they are successful, and some of those coaches, the young coach, because they're not scared. I thought he was scared on the 2-0. He got really scared, and they were playing with 10 players. It's not that they were playing with if it was 11-11, I can understand. They were playing with 10 players.
It's a
You
mental
just
thing.
needed to push,
Yeah.
and find the open man instead of giving the ball always back to the keeper.
Speaking about scared approaches and poor form, Juventus and Max Allegri. So in 1 month, Juventus completely threw away their chances at competing with Inter for Scudetto against teams that you would never imagine. All teams that are fighting at the bottom of the table. Inter, Peter's holding his smile in as I mention all of this. It all started with the game against Empoli. Immediately got the red card. They tied 1-1, followed by a loss to Udinese, followed by a loss to Inter, and now the nail in the coffin, or it probably was done already before this, the draw against Verona. And it was not just a draw, it was an awful performance from this team. And there's been so much debate online, and I've seen pundits in Italy talk about this. The amount of disagreement on this topic is ridiculous to me. And I want to know where you guys stand. Is Allegri underachieving or overachieving with this Juve? Because I've seen people say, oh my God, they spend the most money. They spent 150 million on 3 players. They spend so much on their salary. And then I've seen others who said, this squad, nobody could coach this team. There's no talent within the squad.
Who said that?
Yeah, I mean,
There's many people Allegri himself says the goal was top 4. It was not the challenge for the Scudetto.
Well,
he says, I have a young team. I have a team that hasn't competed for anything yet.
well, you got to take Allegri's post-match comments with a grain of salt because he's one of the masters of mind games and he likes job security. So he'd say whatever he can to put himself in the best position. But I do, I was saying it from the beginning of the season. I do feel like this Juventus have been underachieving just because I feel like I bring it up every podcast. They have no Europe. They got the luxury of playing the same amount of games as a mid-table Serie A team when in fact they have a much bigger wage bill and much more talented players, and they don't play like a top team in Italy. They play like they don't have those players. So I put all the blame on Allegri, to be honest with you, and I think the only way for Juventus to progress is to get a new coach in the summer.
Okay, who else is underachieving? Who else stays on the side of underachieving?
Underachieving? Yeah, he's underachieving. I mean, the players that he has, maybe it's not the greatest Juventus team that you ever seen, but there's players that have quality that play for the national teams of their respective, countries, and the team that I was gonna say national teams of a national team.
That's what I was like, national team. I almost spit out my water.
But you have guys that are legit players, and you're not able to do more. And I think what I said even before, like Allegri is his style of play and how they're and what they're doing. You're not doing anything more. You're not creating a system of play where you see the fans can actually get behind their team and you see improvements.
That's a
going
good way
forward.
of putting it, I think.
Yeah, and
in 3 years, have we really seen he dealt with problems last year for sure, but have you seen an improvement? And even in terms of a plan B, right? Because like the game against Verona, for example, right? You're playing against Verona. You're playing against one of the bottom teams. They're another side that can't score goals.
Yeah.
It's so difficult for them to score goals. Yeah, you conceded those opportunities because the team looks mentally weak. But then even when you have the opportunity to adjust and, for example, play Yildiz and Chiesa together for more than 2 minutes. And you got Vlahovic at scoring goals. 8 goals in 8 games and 2 assists.
Why does he take him out then? I don't get it.
But because he only knows
not play
one
the
way.
3?
That's the thing. Because how I see it,
He lives and dies with the system.
what we said before about Inzaghi in his first year. Oh, this guy with the substitutes and everything else, or he leaves the defense too open. He's able to adjust. He's able to make things better. This Inter team, they go forward more than anybody else. But defensively, they're solid. So he's able to find a perfect balance. You have these players, you're responsible to figuring out how to put them on the field. You have Yildiz, you have Chiesa, you have Vlahovic. Those 3 guys have to play every game.
But he doesn't
Figure
want to
it
play
out.
them 3 together.
Because he's afraid to
Yeah.
allow the goal. Because he doesn't
balance
have
of the
a different idea
Yeah,
of the
it's
game.
true.
And unfortunately, you hurt player values because now you're not able to sell players. So on the business side, you have that. And you guys aren't able to win anything. And unfortunately, you have an Inter in front of you that's running on all cylinders, on pace with what Napoli did last year. So it is unfortunate. But you just win 1-0. You don't. The problem is not solved. You still have a bigger issue here.
But that's what those guys are. This guy's a perfect corporate coach that is result driven. That winning dirty.
But there's
as
no
long
results.
as you get the 3 points.
There's no results.
That's why
There hasn't been results in years.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, again, why is Juventus in love with this kind of a dirty mind people that I said, hey, anything, just win 1-0, forget about soccer, forget about the beauty of the game, forget about just
because they tried that. They tried that with Sarri, and then they realized, oh boy, we don't care about looking good or trying to play a good style if it's going to cost us winning immediately. But now they're also in a pickle where they're not getting either one.
They are in love with this stiff. It's a stiff, this guy
Where
here,
you-
that he has to make them play exactly the way he wants. God forbid you have Yildiz that he has a lot extra fantasy that he wants to just, be a free range dude and just,
Free range dude.
a chicken, and just, going all over, just eating grass all over the field. But
Eating grass all over the field.
unfortunately,
What was the artificial term?
yeah. So what he
That what
does,
he-
he said, you staying over here, don't move over here because you move 4 or 5 inches to left or right,
That's
you're going to be
Chiesa's
benched.
guy.
I know. So
Now, what do you think?
Well, with the players that he has, almost every player is a national team player, and he hasn't. And he doesn't have the European League. He doesn't have the Champions League. He has a whole week to prepare for a game. And with the players that he have, I mean, he should be a solid second place to Inter. He's not better than Inter, but he should be right there, challenging to not with 10 points behind if they win against Atalanta. So I think that Allegri is not for a Juventus team. He doesn't. Where is the identity of Juventus? The way they play. You have certain coaches that create an identity and they say, "Oh, this is the way they play." How does they play? How do they play? I think he's also with Chiesa. He doesn't know where to put him. He's a forward. He's a wing. He changes his position.
Well, he doesn't even let him play as a winger now.
Yeah.
There's reports today from Repubblica that said Chiesa at the end of the year they're gonna have to make a decision because he wants to play in a 4-3-3. He wants to play in a different system, and Juventus have to make a decision. Do you continue, for example, if the rumors are true, with an Allegri or with a Chiesa? But you could see it. You could see it by the attitude of the way that they play.
I mean, he doesn't change anything. He has he would have when Dybala was there. He had the perfect. He could have played a 4-2-3-1 with one Vlahovic and then Dybala, give him all the freedom that he could have. Now he's got Chiesa. If you play the 4-1-4-1 and you have Chiesa out wide and the guy's got the freedom to go anywhere he wants, I mean, I think that would kill everybody, but he sticks to a certain play. There's it just doesn't. I don't like it.
One shocking stat that I saw: Verona in their last 2 games against Monza and Napoli had 3 shots on target in the last 2 games combined. Against Juventus in the first half, they had 5 shots on target. How in the world is that even possible? Also, a Verona side who's changed like 10 players.
I was about to say
So many different guys.
they went heavy in the Dutch league.
It was hard to remember some of the players.
You got a whole new
to
roster.
know some of the guys that were there. Speaking about shots on target, Lazio did the unthinkable. Lazio did something that none of us believed was possible
Anto did.
in the first leg. Did he say that?
Yeah, he said it.
You said Lazio was going to win?
That's right.
He said it when they were up 1-0, maybe.
No. Go check the tape. Go check the tape.
I'm going to check the tape. But Lazio made us very proud, winning.
We don't have tape.
Duct tape.
They won 1-0 over Bayern Munich. And I want to know from you guys, do you think that they will keep this lead? Or did they make a mistake not going for the second goal? Because Upamecano got a red card. Bayern were down a man. They had opportunities. Felipe Anderson, Isaksen, Pedro, to score the second goal because of the way that the game was going. I know it sounds spoiled to say, but do you think they made a mistake not going for the second?
Lazio drives me crazy. I said after the game against Bayern, I wrote it in the chat, they played so beautiful. And I said, this team should be number 2, the way they play against Bayern. They should be the number 2 team, not better than Inter, but they should be right after Inter, the way they played. It was amazing. And then this Sunday, I mean, they started pretty good. They're winning 1-0. Immobile is in front of the goal. He misses the goal. They had a shot with where the goalkeeper touches it with his fingertips. Otherwise, the ball goes in. So they could have been up a couple of goals. And then they make one mistake and a bunch of idiots.
Back to the keeper.
Yeah.
That was your favorite type of play, right, Gaetano?
So this is the play. The fullback gives the ball to the goalkeeper. He gives the fullback. There are 3 guys.
Look at him.
There are 3 guys.
Hold him.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm the goalkeeper. He gives the ball to me. I'm the goalkeeper. So now I got to see where I'm going to bring the ball. He's got 4 players from the other team inside the area, and he gives the ball to Luis Alberto right on top of the box. And then Luis Alberto, he gives a ball that the guy, how is the goalkeeper going to control a ball? A ball dropping, he's got 3-4 guys next to him. I mean, this is, I don't know, how can a coach, a Serie A coach, have something like that happen?
A maestro.
That's unthinkable.
He did Bayern.
We learned that when the goalkeeper has the ball, you open up. Open up as far as you can. You get the ball, and now you got 3 guys inside the area, and you give it to the goalkeeper. To me, if I was a coach, the goalkeeper will not allow to touch the ball if a player from the other team is inside the area. You can give the ball to the goalkeeper, but nobody has to be inside the area from the other team.
Anyway, good rant. I know that you were holding
You
on.
okay, Gaetano? You okay?
Oh, you feel good?
Check his blood pressure, please.
But and Bayern has been really bad. Their form has been awful. They lost 3 in a row. They lost to Leverkusen. They're 8 points behind in the table. They lost to Bochum this weekend. Upamecano also got another red card. They had Lazio in between that.
Wow.
Tuchel might not even be the coach by that time. But either way, what do you make? Do you think Lazio can win in the second leg in Germany?
Listen, you have the 1-0 advantage. You know, you should feel confident in your play. But this Bayern team, I think, is very strong. And even though their recent, form hasn't been great, they don't play next week. They play in 2-3 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
So
3 weeks, yeah.
by then, I think whether it's a change of a coach or just getting those nerves, out a little bit, this Bayern team, they have the individual players to be able to hurt you. Now, on the other hand, Lazio, we said it. Gaetano said it. The way that they play when they're on, it's very hard to beat. But you need to score that second goal. I think at that point, you put yourself in the driver's seat when you have the opportunity to make sure that you kill when the opponent is down.
Speaking of this, it's looking very good for Italian teams so far, and I really don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything, but there was a stat from Opta, who's a very reputable stat company. I know
you
hate
love the
stats,
stats, right?
I
Wow,
know this
the
is a
stats.
trigger
Yeah,
word
After Paolo.
for
Yeah.
Antonio. But they wrote that Italy has an 85% chance to finish with 5 teams in the Champions League for next year, considering how many teams have gone forward.
Milan will be in next year, huh?
Wow, you think it's funny?
I think it's hilarious.
That was very good.
You are asking for it. I gotta tell you something.
Hey,
I've been
but
very quiet.
when you call me, I answer.
Well, yeah, that's right. Not like this guy here.
What do you guys think? Is it still too soon to tell? Because the top 2 leagues next year, which one is going to be England, the second one, Italy, Spain, Germany, France. France is actually really low. They're like 6th right now. They're not doing well at all. Do you guys think? Do you feel confident that we'll finish in the top 2?
Well, we're in a good position right now, so I would.
Where did you get most of the point for you to be on the top? You just for international,
You know what's
the way
crazy?
you're doing internationally?
Points in UEFA
Because
competitions.
Milan actually saved them a lot. Because by going down to Europa League, it doesn't hurt the actual
You
coefficient.
get the same amount.
You're getting
playing
the
in
same
Champions
amount.
League or Conference League or Europa League. You get the same amount
because
of points.
also Fiorentina did extremely well in the Conference League, they're continuing to do it. Atalanta went to the next stage already. Milan won 3-0 against Rennes. They'll probably progress once again. So all of the teams, we've only had one team drop out.
Who's this? Who's Roma? No, Roma's still in.
No, Roma's still in. No teams dropped out.
Oh, Milan dropped out of.
Milan
Champions
dropped
League.
out. Yes.
Drop
You're
out of,
right.
yeah, but
they're in
they're,
Europa.
they're all
Yes.
in the same UEFA
I think
competitions.
we have a good chance, a very good chance. I mean, a very, very high chance that we're going to have 5 teams.
What percentage?
I would say, I would put 97.
Official.
Having said the 97% chance, Bologna currently are the team that's in 5th place. They're going above and beyond any expectation that anyone ever put on them. You just mentioned they beat Lazio 2-1 somehow. If they get Champions League football, I know we've talked about Thiago Motta leaving. All of the big pieces want to get picked off. Do you think Thiago Motta and Zirkzee, they should stay at Bologna and try to create something special? They have Champions League football. They have an incredible group. They have a great direttore sportivo who's put this all together. What's so impressive about them is that in the big games, they have no fear. I'll remind you, they beat Lazio twice. They've beaten Atalanta. They beat Roma. They knocked Inter out of the Coppa Italia. They have ties against Inter, Milan, Juventus, and Napoli this season.
I would love to think that they, if they do end up making Champions League somehow, that they're gonna stick together.
So just
But
should. Don't prediction. Should they
Okay.
do it?
Me personally, yeah.
Should they? If you were them, if you were Thiago
If I
Motta
was
and
who?
Zirkzee, would you make a pack?
If I was Thiago Motta, then I have a team like Milan or Juve or Inter calling me. Am I gonna stay? Ugh, that's. I like believing things, but that's
if
too
you're in
far
Champions
fetched.
League, you should stay.
But you're gonna get 3 times your salary. You're gonna get better players. You're gonna sign a bigger contract over there.
So what?
do you mean, so
You made a
what?
miracle in Bologna with Zirkzee. You'll stay.
And remember that miracle.
Let him stay.
Why are you traveling to another club? I just think what.
So you
what I
think you
would
think you
happen.
think if they make Champions League, they should stay somehow.
You should stay. Tell Saputo, give me some a
Yeah,
couple
okay.
more players.
Yeah, okay.
Some cheese.
Listen, I think that I
Give
would
me some more players.
I will rephrase the question this way. Will Bologna
Win the Champions League.
will Bologna be able to keep Thiago Motta and Zirkzee with all the pressure already coming from the outside? It's Europe, it's Italy, it's technically everybody's looking at those two as a group, as a pack. They want them together. It's like you get a
I don't
panettone
think they
and the
want them
bottiglia
together.
and the
Come on.
spumante. You get a panettone and the spumante right next to it. So everybody's
think they
looking
need
at
them
them.
together.
No, is Bologna? Can Bologna make that sacrifice, that economic sacrifice, to say, hey, listen, at any cost, we want you here. Forget about what
With
they
Champions
offering
League
you.
revenue, basically.
Yeah, right. So forget about what they're offering you. We're gonna up your salary to this much here. Sign here. I will press them right now to sign them. That's it. That's the only way.
They would never do it before.
So I don't
Peter,
think
what do you think about mine?
stay.
Just living in a
Spalletti,
fantasy.
you didn't-
He's living in
yeah,
a fantasy
Spalletti.
land over here. What's going on, Anto?
Pete, what do you think?
No, I if I were them, I would stay because of the track record of the sporting director. I think even with Atalanta, when they first made the Champions League, we were all questioning should the top players stay, and they ended up staying, and it worked miracles for them. You know, they didn't go on to win the Champions League.
They got
but-
close though.
Okay, but
They almost
they
knocked PSG
made
out
a
that
nice
time.
run and they play football and they maintain Champions League status. And they still are, because of that run, are a team that is competing for the 4th spot in Champions League this year as well. So I think when things are right with the team and with the club, a coach feels comfortable to stay, especially when you make this Champions League, because there's extra revenue coming in and you already are able to play or punch at that level. I think with 1 year in Champions League, and I believe he'll do well, Thiago Motta, with this Bologna team in a Champions League. Maybe he doesn't get out of the group stage, but his style of play and what he can do will definitely cause more attention.
Put like
moving
an
forward.
Ajax.
Oh yeah, could
Something
be
like
that.
that.
But Bologna have to invest
Back
in the
them.
team.
And the thing is, you got nothing to lose. Because if you get out, well, you're supposed to get out. But can you imagine if you go to the next?
Oh yeah.
To the next stage. And Bologna, I don't know if they were ever in the Champions League. I know that. I remember when I was a little kid, they won Campionato. They had a good team. They had some excellent players, Alan Bascuti. They had some Bulgarelli was a number 10. He played for the national team.
Not in the current Champions League, at least.
No. Era Coppa dei Campioni. I don't know if they ever played there, but they did. Yeah, I guess if you win the championship, the next year you play. You play in the Coppa dei Campioni.
It was different back then. I think it was only the winner, right? It wasn't the top four.
It was the winner.
So you spoke about Atalanta as well. And, I mean, this team, I don't know why it is, but for some reason, they are always under the radar. We always seem to underrate them. But what they're doing right now is amazing. They seem almost secure for the fourth place at this point. They're 2024, 6 wins in a row, 19 goals scored, 3 conceded. They won 3-0 against Sassuolo. They're only 7 points behind Milan Juventus fighting over there for the second spot. They have a game in hand. It is against Inter. But what do you guys think?
And I just want to add, and Lukman still hasn't got into the squad. He's still not 100% fit. So when he comes back, I mean, even more firepower there if they needed any.
Why is it then that they're always overlooked yet always perform?
I never overlook them. I don't. I never do that.
You're the guru, though. We're not all at your level.
Oh, thank you.
The rest of us
I appreciate
Who do
you at
overlook?
least admitting.
Monza also is not a mid-level team.
Okay, all right. So, wow. Listen,
He doesn't overlook Belgium. We found that out last week.
Belgium too. Listen,
Belgium.
listen. Look who's the coach of Atalanta. You know.
I thought you
Yeah, but they
actually
got-
said a smart
Look who's the
thing.
coach
But they
of
actually
Atalanta.
got players. But it's not
It's-
just the coach. Even this year, they got a lot of players who are
players are
performing.
good.
Cup Miners is
CDK.
performing. CDK, Miranchuk,
Lukman.
Lukman.
Where do you think he's coming
Ederson, Derun, Scalvini.
come on.
Carnesecchi. They have a goalkeeper making the difference. He saved 2 penalties. He saved 2 penalties.
from? Look who's taking the penalty. Come on, man.
Pinamonti.
That's
This
actually, they were
guy
teammates
is
back in the day.
Yo,
ridiculous.
Pinamonti looked like he had no confidence going up to that. Both times he looked
Ridiculous.
so...
Yeah.
How the hell you missed 2 penalties, one after the other?
I think Atalanta is a team that with Gasperini there's stability, and then you have the ownership that has come in, but
That backs
they
them up,
also gave the management role to the Percassi, kept with the Percassi family, who have been doing an amazing job, even outside of
Rightfully
soccer,
so,
even
yeah.
outside of football.
What did they do outside of football?
They're invested in all these different companies, but for example, they did the Kiko Milano.
The
So
coffee?
No, it's makeup. It's like a Italian Sephora. Supposedly gonna get private equity to come in.
And that's Percassi?
Percassi family
Wow.
invested in it. Antico Vinaio. They have an agreement with them to help with the franchising
That's
model.
right.
There's 2.
Yeah,
There's 3 in the city.
3 in the city.
3.
Yeah.
We went. Mike and I went the other week. It's
Very
so
good stuff,
Yeah.
right?
So
There is one that
didn't
is
even
going to be
realize that.
opening on 25th Street, 25th and Broadway, by the way. How do I know?
We'll invoice them for that nice shout out that you
I
gave.
like how he asks his own question. How do I know? Like no one else asked on the table.
One more topic for the night. Roma won as well against Frosinone. Di Francesco against De Rossi. They were both on the same team when Barcelona did the epic comeback. Di Francesco wanted De Rossi as assistant coach for quite some time. There was one storyline that I found pretty interesting, and I figured most of us would disagree. Huijsen, the 18-year-old who's on loan from Juventus, scored an unbelievable goal. I mean, the guy scored a goal like a number 10.
World class.
It was ridiculous. And then afterward, he hit the C. He did like the Ronaldo celebration. And then he shushed the crowd. He shushed the Frosinone fans because I guess they were whistling him throughout the entire game. He got a yellow card. De Rossi took him off. But Di Francesco, after the game, said he wanted to go over and smack Huijsen because he was so mad at what he did for shushing the fans. De Rossi said, listen, he's a young kid. He's as young as my daughter. He making a mistake. He's going to learn from that in the past.
I think that's wrong. 100%. You can do that.
Which part?
I mean, the Di Francesco is wrong and De Rossi is wrong for taking him out. You can,
He took him out because he was on a yellow card.
The yellow card was wrong too. You can do that too. You're not taking the shirt off. You just the crowd was booing him the entire time that
That's
he touched
true.
the
They were
ball.
cheering him.
So for him, just to do like they didn't give the middle finger to anybody. He just shushed them. That's it. And for that, is that within the regulation? I will challenge that yellow card.
Yeah, it is.
I will
No,
definitely
it's
challenge.
excessive celebration, provoking
What celebration
provoking
is
a crowd.
telling them, hey.
But you're provoking the crowd.
What you were making a
I think
face.
it's
But
wrong.
doesn't Lukaku does that every game?
Well, he doesn't do it directly towards those fans. Like Huijsen was doing that towards the Frosinone fans that were booing him. That's just Lukaku's celebration, and he was also given a card. We remember in the game against Juventus.
I don't agree with that 100%.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
now
yeah,
he
that's
does it. I
right.
think in almost every game.
I think
he
that's
does
Because
it.
they
That's a
understood
signature
that he's not
thing.
doing it towards a crowd.
Yeah.
It's not like he's
It's just
provoking.
like a signature thing.
Okay.
And some context for the Huijsen thing. For the people that don't know, he was actually close before going to Roma. Frosinone were actually close of getting him instead.
That's the reason why they were booing him.
So that's why they were booing him, and
That's why
I
they're
mean,
booing
listen,
him.
listen. As a young player, 19-year-old, you score an amazing goal, and everyone once you touch a ball, everyone's jeering at you. I get there's frustration also, but then again, you're also professional, so I do see both sides of it.
I don't
So-
know. I personally, I don't get why you give the kid a yellow card. I'm with Antonio. I can't believe I'm saying that. I completely agree with Antonio. For me,
Hey, check the temperature of the guy over there. Maybe.
for me, they're booing you the entire game, right? I get that you're insinuating a crowd. I don't agree with it. What did he do? He told the guys, be quiet. It's
That's
the right
all.
thing.
No middle
he
finger,
He scored a
nothing.
beautiful goal.
No
and he said, you
instigation.
guys booing me the entire time. Now you be quiet.
That's it.
As a competitor, I would understand why he would do that.
Yeah, part of the rules, I guess.
You should get the blue card.
Yeah, I have no
right.
problem with that. I mean, the kid is 18, 19 years old.
18, I think. Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing with the goals that he scored and the character, personality that he's got to get the ball and go and dribble
From
and
midfield.
2 goals in his last 3 games.
you know, and that's amazing.
And he couldn't find space on Juventus.
He's a Juventus player, isn't he?
He's going back to Juventus at the end of the season.
wow.
They have no option to buy.
And he already has more goals than Belotti had for Roma, by the way. Another fun stat.
Thanks for that stat, Mike.
I don't know. I have no problem with that, with what he did. There's too many yellow cards in Serie A.
Yeah.
You
Too
know,
many.
they
Very
yellow cards
offended.
for everything.
Too many.
But even with the referees in England, Premier League,
They let them
they
play.
tell them F off every single time. I
Who
always
said to F off to who?
We want
They
names.
tell who's they
We
tell
want
F
names.
off.
hold on. The
What
players
addresses?
Oh, the player that tell
will
the
tell the
referee.
F off.
Why do we have to say that?
If you do that in Italy, you're getting a red card.
How did you? Where did you hear that? Wait a moment.
He's
The
so
players
intrigued.
that tell the referees.
Yeah.
He can read lips.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're much more able to go back and forth with the ref. In Italy, you have, even if you say one thing, you'll get a yellow card. Or the coaches right away.
They're
Yellow
more
card.
egotistical.
I'm off the
in
referee
Italy.
train. I used to stick up for them. I was like, you know what?
that's too much.
They have a difficult job. There's so much pressure. I can never imagine wanting to be a referee. Just in my mindset, I would never think to do that. But lately, I listened to some of the open VAR that they have now at DAZN, and especially the one with Summer, and their explanation of the plays, and then the ignorance, in my opinion, the way that I see the game, the ignorance of only watching the one replay, and they only show him this one replay, and the way that they're explaining to the referee what he's got to go see, and then he goes to the monitor after wasting 20 minutes talking, right, listening. He goes to the monitor and he watches one angle and then decides the whole thing. The communication between them, it drives me nuts, and I agree with you. There's way too many yellow cards.
Yeah.
There's too much pride. There's too much ignorance of adapting to the new way.
I think ego is the right word.
Ego.
You know what? You're on the topic right now. I have to say this because I gotta get out of
Is
my
it about
chest.
Milan?
Yes, I gotta get it out of my chest.
Okay, and then we'll
All
conclude
right.
the podcast.
Who was on the VAR room when Milan played Atalanta?
No idea.
That idiot of Di Bello. Okay, that you are. Teo Hernandez was grabbed with 2 hands.
Who?
Okay, when Di
grabbed
Gregorio,
him?
when Di Gregorio came out and
He
he
doesn't
got
remember.
hurt. Okay, he was grabbed. I think it was what's his name? The defender. What's his name of the
Scalvini?
defender? No.
Jim City?
No.
Baresi? Maldini?
Baroni, one of those things. Anyway, he grabbed him with 2 hands from the
Baroni.
eye.
Who's Baroni?
That's a coach.
Yo, let me finish.
But we need to know the player.
right. You know
We need to know
I
the
have to
player.
remember the player.
What's the
Let me
player?
They haven't.
If you
Producer. Anyway,
Producer.
He got
Cut him
grabbed
off.
with the 2 hands. Teo Hernandez was about to hit the ball inside of the net. So
Inside
the
the
guy
net?
grabbed him. Di Bello saw it. Everything. I saw it. I didn't need to go to the bar. I saw it. No penalty.
you're
over
watching
there.
it on
Why
video.
was no penalty? Why there was no penalty? We have enemies
the guy
on
got
the
a concussion.
field. Colombo
The guy
was
got
on
a
the field.
concussion.
Lieutenant Colombo was on the field, and then we have Di Bello over there. The worst. And they always been kept on the pitch. Those guys that should be fired, including the guy that does.
We're gonna be like MLS. We're gonna have no referees.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I have a couple friends over here. We can get Gianluca to ref the game over there.
Yeah, even
You
better.
know, that's a disgrace. It is a disgrace.
Understood.
Okay,
Guys, thank you everybody for
All
watching.
right.
Make sure you like,
I
subscribe,
got it
rate
out
this
of my chest.
podcast.
So do you
with
agree?
5
No.
reviews.
Don't. Do you agree? Yes or no?
I absolutely
Thank
agree
you.
with you.
Okay, guys. For the record, AC Milan was penalized. Okay, was penalized. Was
the
not
record.
given a penalty.
Guys, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao ragazzi.
You were penalized with no penalty.